Welcome to your leadership coach. This is part 2 of my interview with my good friend and mentor, Fred Pate. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, in our session outline, we have a link to that so that you can check it out. We're talking about the top mistakes that leaders make. So Fred, we talked about numbers 1 and 2 last session. We're going to go numbers 3 through 5 in this session. So number 3, showing favoritism. And this is a tough one.
It is tough because it's our natural inclination is to have favorites and to really maybe you just hit it off with certain employees better than you do others, and that's kind of a natural thing. And I don't know that you can totally avoid that, but what you can do is really work to make sure that you're fair and objective, and that it's not so one-sided or not so obvious to everyone that you have a favorite. I mean, you just need to balance that out and be very cautious and make sure that you don't miscommunicate to your employees your feelings.
Absolutely. So Fred, and I like what you said. If we're being realistic, we're gonna have favorites.
Yeah.
There's just naturally people that we connect with, right? We have the same hobbies or interests or that type of thing. So for you, if you can just, practically, what are some of the things that you do to make sure that some of these favorites that you have, as you said, we don't just show them so that people know about our favorites?
Yeah. Well, I say one thing is that sometimes because you maybe have a favorite and you have a close relationship with people, you can afford to be, you have some capital established. So sometimes you can be a little more direct and blunt with them than you would be maybe with other employees. So hopefully you have enough, like I say, capital built up in that relationship that you can afford to do that. And that certainly has been the case for me. I would say also you just need accountability, with your maybe other senior level managers to make sure that you're not showing any kind of favoritism in your decision making. I mean, ultimately your decisions need to be sound decisions based upon what's the best interest for the company and for the investors and for the employees. And a mature leader is going to put aside any kind of bias and really make that fair and objective decision. And hopefully you have other senior level managers who can kind of hold you accountable to that.
Absolutely. Now, I don't want you guys to miss this because I think this was so good what you said, Fred, the accountability piece. There are many times where leaders like to make decisions on an island. And one of the best ways to protect yourself, especially if you have a close friend that you're working with and maybe you're thinking about doing a promotion, right, or something like that, is always getting second and third opinions.
Well, I'm blessed to work very closely with guys that I've worked with for decades, and they're really like brothers to me. And sometimes they've had to call me out because maybe I was treating one employee maybe not as fairly and as objectively as I should have, and it stings a little bit, it hurts a little bit, but at the same time, if I'm fair, if I'm a good leader, I'll step back and say, they're right. I need to really check myself on this and make sure that I'm not allowing any bias to come into play, or I'm not showing any kind of favoritism or being unfair.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, so number 4, they don't cast a clear vision.
Yeah, I think it's important that your employees understand exactly what the business is about, and where you're going, what your goals are, what you want to achieve in the future. And I think a part of that is to make sure the employees understand that they're a part of something exciting and big, and maybe something that's changing the world a little bit incrementally at a time. And so I think you need to make sure you communicate to the employees that they're on board, a train that's going to do some positive things, for the world, for the community, or whatever market they serve.
Absolutely. And you and I both know this. This is a big deal for millennials, and especially the next generation, Gen Z. I mean, they want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. They want to know that something they're doing is making a difference in this world. So practically, how do you do that in your industry?
Well, I'm in the lubricant industry. We manufacture synthetic lubricants and for multiple types of applications. And the great thing about our products are that they last up to 8 to 10 times longer than many of the petroleum products that can be used in those same applications. So if you're able to, have a multiple lives over your other products, then you can talk about, the environmental impact and how there's less use of resources to manufacture the product, less labor involved in change out of lubricant, less cost in terms of disposal and environmental impact in terms of disposal of used oil. So we believe, a really strong argument to be made on how we're having a very positive impact upon the culture and upon our globe and the environment.
Which is a big deal, especially in this day and age. I know it's a topic of a lot of conversation, right? The environment. And I think that's great to know. And I think the biggest thing with vision is explain the why, right? And don't just kind of maybe stop with this why, like kind of play that out a little bit so that they can really see that they're a part of something bigger than themselves.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so our last one, Fred, not trusting others. Now, this is kind of a hard one, right? Because it's kind of the whole adage, is trust given? Is it earned? Is it a combination of both somewhere, right?
Yeah. And I would say it would have to be a combination of the two. The most important thing is surrounding yourself by people that you can trust. And usually that begins during the hiring process.
Yeah.
And, it's important that you hire people that share your values and have very positive values in terms of being very customer focused and being very people focused. And I think when you have those kind of people on in your organization, then you can give them more trust, and because they're they want the same things that you want, to take care of people and to sell your product, take care of the customer's needs, take care of employee needs, all these things that are required to make a successful business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I've seen it. Very few businesses grow with micromanagers at the helm. You have to trust people.
I don't like to be micromanaged.
Sure.
I don't know anyone that does. And so I think when you are micromanaged, it communicates lack of trust.
Sure. And
that's a very demotivating thing. And so I think it's really important to hire the right people and then give them the opportunity to make good decisions. And then sometimes you may disagree with where something's going, and sometimes you have to step in. But I think more times than not, you just have to trust that they know what they're doing and let it play out, and just resist that temptation to jump in too early to change things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like what you said there, Fred, when you talk about the hiring the people around you, right? You want to be similar in core values. Maybe you want to be different in strengths so that you can have a well-rounded organization. They can complement your weaknesses. But we got to make sure that we are hiring people with the same core values, because if they don't believe the same things we believe, at least those inherent values, then it is probably difficult to trust.
Yeah. There's really strength and diversity. So you do want diversity in your organization. You don't want everybody to be a clone of the one before them. But at the same time, there are some key values that everyone in your organization should possess, and there shouldn't be any variation in that.
Absolutely. That's great. Well, Fred, thank you so much. Appreciate you being a part of this interview. Like I said, leaders, we are going to make mistakes. It's natural. Fred's make mistakes. I make mistakes. We make mistakes all the time. But I think the key thing is that to be able to learn from those, and especially to be able to learn from those that have gone before us. So here's kind of today's game plan. What I want you guys to do is I want you to think about some of these mistakes that Fred shared, and I want you to look at maybe your own leadership right now and maybe pick out one or two that you go, yeah, I'm currently making that mistake right now. What are some things that you can do right now to be able to correct that mistake so you don't make it in the future?